Can't hear you, Sean.
When you allow this to flow into your life in this nobodiness, that's the thing that's going to change everything. Hang on to it with me for just a second. Let me explain something. The problems you currently have, think about it. Think about an issue, a situation, something that you have that's in your life right now. This problem that you have, this challenge that you have right now, it exists because you're somebody. The problems you have is because of an identity that you currently exist in. Does that make sense? If you're overweight, it's because you're overweight. That's an identity of somebody who is overweight, somebody who's fat, who's unhealthy, who's figure out whatever it is. Do you have an identity of dehydrated? You need to drink more. Do you have an identity of somebody who needs to work out more? That's an identity. That's somebody because you have decided you are that somebody. Hang on with me here for just a second. The thing that you want, listen carefully. The desire that you want, the goal that you want. Drop an N if you have to become nobody. If you have to become somebody different than you currently are, you got to become nobody compared to who you are. Drop an N in the chat. Your success requires you to become a nobody. You know how hard it is to become a nobody when your whole entire life has been a somebody? So how do you become a nobody? You have to resist the description, the identity of who you currently are. So when I've talked to you about this NEST program, neuroenergetic self-sculpting, you still have a name, right? What Tony Robbins says it best. When you get a dog, what's the first thing you do? You name it. Hey, Doug, thanks for sharing this out with everybody on Instagram. When you have a dog, the first thing you do is you name it. Why? Because it's your dog. How many of you have named identities of your current self? I don't have any money. That's an identity. Compared to what? You got a lot more money than 60% of the population of the planet. I can guarantee you that. If you're on here, you're paying for Wi-Fi. You got a phone. You got a computer. You're paying for internet. You've got more money than 60% of the 7 billion people, 8 billion people that are on the planet. So we have these identities. Are you a rank in your current network marketing business? That's an identity. See, we hold on to that. How many of you, if I came along and changed the name of your dog, think about it, change the name of your dog or your cat or your fish. And I said, oh, your dog's name is Fiona. I'm going to change it to Sally. You'd be like, that's not my dog's name. How many of you are going to get coached by people who say, you're a grand poobah, you're a platinum when you're a silver, you're a level 7 champ instead of you're this, you're a chairwoman that, and they give you these labels of things that are other than your identity. And then what happens? Then we start building the gap. We start building the gap between where we are and where we want to be. And we, meaning you and me, we keep creating our gap, making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And the reason we keep creating this gap and making it bigger is so here's the hard part. Here's the wacky Wednesday. The reason we create this gap bigger and bigger, you want to know why? It's so we can fail with dignity. Ugh. We are wired and designed to fail. So we keep making the gap bigger so our struggle is more. When you arrive at your goal, is there going to be struggle? Arrive at it, not get to it, arrive at it. When you receive $10,000 a month in income or $100,000 a month in income, when you receive the doctor's notice, listen carefully. How many of you have had friends, or maybe you have had friends, and you've been diagnosed with it? Bob Proctor said disease, a body not at ease. And then all of a sudden you get the all clear. right? Drop an AC, all clear. If you've ever known anybody, or maybe it was you, that you've ever went to a doctor for your last test, he said, I got to get my test to see if I've cleared up, and you got an all clear. How many of you were excited when somebody got the all clear? How much struggle was in the all clear? They became a nobody compared to the somebody that was sick. See, this isn't about efforting. This is about the greatest effort you will ever produce, though, and it's called state of mind. Right? Tony Robbins talks about the tyranny of how, the strategy, how, tell me how. The greatest strategy you can use is to become a nobody to your current mindset. How do you do that? Well, there is a how. There is a transition. It's called state of being. It's called understanding neuroencoding. See, when you have these thoughts of nothing, your body goes, I have to be something. When you are having, how many of you have had some great, wildly better than average success, better than you thought average success, and within a 72-hour period, the wheels started to fall off? Drop a W in the chat for wheels. The wheels start to fall off. And you think, okay, well, that's not too bad. It's not too bad. But then all of a sudden, the wheels fall off, the doors fall off, the windshield falls out, and you're back to beyond square one. You're back to a place to where you have to use your current experience to build to get better. That has been your life cycle. That is called failing with dignity. And it's not, there is no dignity in failure. Now, you can turn it into a lesson, but too many of us have made the failure part of our identity. And that's the neuroencoding that we have. Our body has told our mind what to do. See, your body tells your brain what to do. When you wake up in the morning, you got to go pee. You're like, I got to go pee. And your body says, I got to go pee. Well, Sean, I got to go pee. That's a good story. Here, let me guess this. If you get up to go pee in the middle of the night, do you talk about not having a good sleep? Do you talk about the identity that you're lacking sleep? Do you talk about the identity of lack of performance? Do you talk about the identity of why you're in a challenging state? Oh, I didn't get good sleep last night. That's your problem. That is your problem. You have owned that identity that you actually make the law of attraction, ladies and gentlemen. People argue with me all the time. And what's that phrase that they say? Never argue with an idiot. They'll bring you down to their experience level and beat you with that experience. That's the challenge with wanting to help people have more of what they want and less of what they don't. They're not willing to change their identity. They're not willing to become nobody to the somebody they currently are. How do you get around this? What are some things I could do, Sean? Tell me some things I could do this morning. What are some things I could do? Start with your evidence. Hey, Kelsey, how are you? Start with your evidence of success. How many of you are trying to figure out, what is my evidence of success? See, that's how masked your somebody is compared to your nobody. Your somebody will keep you from even becoming aware of your mask of greatness. It will hide the things that you've done well. How will it hide the things you've done well? It will. If I ask you, give me a list of 10 things you've done well in your life, you'll be like, what do you mean? You'll ask me, what do you mean? Right? Because all of a sudden, if I ask you, what are some things you've done well? You're like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? What do you mean? What have I done well? What have you done well? I don't know. Right? How many of you are currently doing that? I don't know. Did you graduate first grade? Did you graduate second grade? Well, yeah, but that's nothing. Listen, every third grader is a hero to a second grader. When you graduated from first grade and went into second, and then you went to school the next year and you started second grade, all the first graders went, ooh, they're a second grader. But what did you look at life as? You looked at life as, well, there's all of the fourth graders. There's all of the fifth graders. But now I'm asking you, this is the evidence-based approach to becoming nobody. This evidence-based approach to becoming nobody requires you to be somebody in your own success. You hearing me? You learn, and that's the biggest challenge we have with any goal setting. We can goal set the living pants off of our dream board. Man, I want this and I want that and I want this and I need it, got it, need it, want it, need it, need it. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm chairman this, I'm greatman this, I'm super 7-figure income earner, I'm a 6-figure a month income earner, I'm this, and we give off ourselves all of what? Identities. We give ourselves names. And when you give yourself a name, you then limit your possibilities. Right? Bob Proctor said, honor before, when we set goals set it on December 31st, honor before we give ourselves another chance. The challenge is that too many people are setting their goals based on a limiting belief. How many of you thought, listen, how many of you thought that if you had 1,000 followers, your life would change? Think about this. I'm not asking you to give me any feedback because I know the story. How many of you thought, well, if I could get to 10,000 followers, that would make a difference in my life? And you worked and you got to 10,000 followers. Did your life really change? You still got 18 people who like your shit. Then all of a sudden you said, well, if I could get to 20,000 followers, my life would really change. I'd have more people interact with me and people would really like. And so you go out and you buy some likes maybe, or you go out and you do some things and maybe you get a little push in the envelope in your posts and in your lives, and you get to 20,000 followers. And now you got 20 people that like your stuff. I'm just saying, maybe, is it possible that your desire to be something is keeping you from everything? When the universe has this complete buffet of possibility, and you say, I want that one thing. I want that one little dot. I want that little tip of the pen. I want that one little itty bitty thing. I want 10,000 followers. I want $10,000 a month. Well, the reason the $10,000 a month, right, if that's what you really wanted income-wise, is impossible to show up. It's impossible for it to show up as long as you are giving it an identity. Your definite major purpose gives you a target and then asks you the price you will pay. The challenge is most people aren't willing to pay the price, let alone know what price they. How many of you have ever traveled internationally? Drop an I in the chat. Have you ever traveled internationally? When I don't even know, do they stamp passports anymore? We used to get pages in our books, right? So if you've traveled internationally, but have you traveled to a place where they have a different currency? Follow me on this. Have you ever traveled to a place, drop a C in the chat, if you've traveled to a place where they have a different currency, where you have to exchange money. And when you exchange money, if it's not a lot, do you care about the exchange rate? You follow me? Do they ask you, are you qualified? Are you qualified to exchange money? Do they ask you that? No. If you have the money, they change it. Now, certain places charge a conversion rate. You follow me? And some places, probably the worst place to get it is at the airport, but that's where everybody, when they're first new and they come in, they give their money into, and they turn it into, I don't know, they turn it into REM, and they turn it into, I don't know what the different currencies are, the peso, right? And they're like, well, what's the exchange rate? And that the hotel was pretty good. If you're on the executive lounge, it's a pretty good rate. And there's different rates. You've got ideas and you're taking it to social media to exchange it for your dreams. And the exchange rate is horrible. It's miserable. And you keep going back into social media to say, but that's where I'm going to find my success. And that's where I'm going to do this. Or you go and you follow these ideas. You can't figure out, why is it costing me so much? Why I did my lives. I did lives for a year. I've done lives for 4 years, 5 years in a row, every day. 1,720 lives in a row, every day. Kind of take Sundays off now, but I still do other lives. But I'm on every day. I don't do the exchange rate is phenomenal because I know what I'm exchanging my time for. There's 2 people right now who are on Instagram. 7,000 followers on Instagram, and there's 2 that are online. Those are the 2 people that I'm going to speak to. That's my exchange rate. After 40 years as a public speaker and a trainer and a teacher, and I've stood on stage in 30 countries, translated into 40 languages, 5-time #1 best-selling author, I got 2 people. Because I'm not willing to sacrifice my life to have 50 people on a live. To me, that would be a sacrifice to go build that. If it eventually happens, it happens. But that's not what I wake up for going, man, I need 3 people on my live. Oh, there's 3 people now on my live. So in order to get to where you want to be, it is required. It is the laws of the universe. You have to become nobody to who you currently are. You won't recognize yourself. If the $10,000 a month came in or $100,000 a month came in, would you recognize yourself? Would you be doing things differently? They're doing things you didn't know you could do. That, ladies and gentlemen, is where your success lies. And that the next time you go to read a book or attend a seminar or attend a workshop, you have to ask yourself, are they making me more of who I currently am? Or are they teaching me how to be a nobody compared to who I currently am? Because see, in that nobody, you don't know, listen, if you knew who you needed to be, wouldn't you be it? So doesn't the nobody already exist? It's that you're just not in tune with it. That's the part of mentorship that's required for your next level. Whatever your next level is, to go from 2,000 a month to 3,000 a month requires you to become nobody. Somebody completely different, but the nobody compared to who you are. You can't take who you currently are with you. You can take the lessons and know what to avoid, because otherwise you'll be back at $2,000. How many of you have ever expanded your success and then it retracted? Right? It retracted because you weren't able to stay at this level. You expanded your possibility beyond your capability, and you weren't capable of keeping it up here, your energy, your flow, your income, your relationships, and all of that stuff, and it retracted. And sometimes with breakneck speed. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your programming, is your self-talk, is your addiction to approval. And until you undo that addiction to approval to where you currently are, to your failure, listen, call it what it is. You can get mad, but you are addicted to your current level of failure. It's why you struggle. It's why you wake up and, man, I have to do better today. I get to do better today. I got to change my words. Sean talks about changing my words. I want it better today. I'm gonna get in state. I'm gonna meditate. I can't meditate. I want to meditate. I can't meditate. I got to meditate for 2 hours. All right, I'm gonna sit quiet and be pissed off for 2 hours. There is a handful of things that need to be worked on. Jim Rohn said it best: a handful of things done daily will create wild success. A handful of things avoided on a daily basis will create pain and struggle. It's only a handful of things. Self-talk, understanding neuroencoding, understanding clearing your chakras, getting your energy in place, understanding your current statement, EFT and tapping, understanding that the vibrational state that you listen to, binaural beats, a handful of things. You'll do any one of those. You've listened to binaural beats, and you've done meditation, and you've done clearing, and you've done chakras, and maybe you've done some tapping at some point in your life. But you put all of those together in a coordinated vibratory state called the NEST program, neuroenergetic self-sculpting. You bring all of those together, and you have a literal shift in your body that can't be undone. It's just too many people have used it that you can't go back, because once you truly know and you step outside of the shadows and you step into the sun of your possible potential future, and you literally live there for a second, you won't go back. The reason that you go up and you come back is because you don't live there. You keep looking at yourself as if you're window shopping at this new level of success, and you go, I can't afford that. I can't stay here. This isn't even me. That's not me. That's not me. You've had this out-of-body experience. You've walked across the stage at your company's event and you got recognition. You're like, oh my gosh, this is where I want to live. And you said, that's not me. And you went back to a previously paid rank, a previously paid income, a previously disastrous relationship. And that's all because of your own personal belief that you're not enough. And that's called addiction to approval. And the second you decide you're going to advance that, you're going to shift that, you're going to change that, it'll be some of the most challenging work you will ever do, because you have to let go of the old identity. It's literally the worst breakup you'll ever perform. As soon as you do that, though, the old breakup, the old part of you, the one that's currently you, doesn't want you to stay here. They want you to leave. They want you to expand. Could you imagine telling a tree, right now it's winter here in this part of the world, telling a tree, hey, listen, when spring comes, don't you dare bud. Don't you dare blossom. Don't you dare grow new leaves. Do not grow leaves. It would be futile for you to go talk to a tree. If I go talk to any of the 700 trees on the property, hey, listen, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to stay where you're at. It would be impossible. It would be impossible. Unless the tree was dead. It's time for you to bloom. It's time for you to grow. It's time for you to accelerate. Your highest potential is calling you. What you are seeking is seeking you. How do you do that? Join me. Go to unlearnme.live. Unlearnme.live. Set up your account. Join me. Start asking me some questions. Come join me. Come ask me some questions. Come have a conversation with me inside of a group, or listen to other people ask questions and see if the community is all the same psychographic as you, people who want more. Do you want more? Then I would encourage you, join this community. It doesn't cost you anything. Become a part of the community. Start to see if it makes sense, and then decide, okay, this is an odd group of individuals. They're misfits. We call ourselves misfits. This is a group of misfits that I kind of fit in because I want more and I'm willing to give up the old story. Unlearnme.live. You'll have to set up an account. If you look below where it has the logins, say set up your new account. If this is your first time, you click on that, you set up your account. And there's a whole bunch of resources there. So I love you tons. I appreciate you. I'll see you where? I'll see you at the next amazing, fun-filled event. Till then, bye for now. And YouTube, love you tons. Appreciate you. Hope you have an incredible, super fantastic kind of day. I'll see you where? I'll see you at the next event. I'm going to go have a conversation with those people who are Unlearn Me.